Hello and welcome to Raven's Plains. My name is Ravenblack. In this simple tutorial, I'll explain how to create a simple flight plan for real-time weather, export maps and sectionals to bring with you into VR, export and import your flight plan into X-Plane, and even import it into the Garmin 650 and 750. So let's get started and get this plane in the air. If you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Let's talk about what you will need for this tutorial. First up is Avitab. Another thing you'll need is a web browser because we're going to be going to Skyvector.com and windy.com. You'll also need FPL to FMS. This is going to convert the FPL files from Skyvector to the FMS format for X-Plane. And finally, Little Navmap. Now, I won't be going over everything in Little Navmap because that's a pretty extensive program, but I am going to be explaining how to at least export from that to the Garmin 650 and 750. Another program I think would be beneficial is Ortho for XP. This is going to give you real world terrain in X-Plane and will make it easier to do VFR flights, being able to actually see the terrain you're flying around and objects on the ground and be able to locate airports and learn to locate airports through seeing what is on the ground. This will not just add authenticity to your flights, but also make it a more visual, enjoyable experience. If you'd like to know how to get Ortho for XP up and running, please see my tutorial in the link above and in the description below, and it'll run you through how to get it all installed and set up quickly. Alright, let's get started. Avitab, you can just open this up. You're going to want to place this in your X-Plane resources plugins folder and just throw Avitab in there, the whole directory, and that should be set up just fine. The other ones that we downloaded here are the FPL to FMS. This is the conversion file for the Skyvector flight plans. And for this, I just put this in my flight plan FMS plans directory. Now, one thing I want to note, this is inside X-Plane 11 output FMS plans. This directory didn't exist when I went looking for it. I had to create it myself. And so it just has to be spelled like this, I'm guessing, which is just capital FMS, capital PLANS, and put that in your output folder. And then I just drop this in here and I'll show you how to use this in a bit when we get this set up on how to just convert these files over. And lastly, Little Navmap, which you just open this up and grab this directory, and this can live anywhere. And so I just put it, I believe, in my X-Plane directory. Yep, that's where I put it, and I just installed it here just so I could find it. It's easier to know that it's just in my X-Plane 11 directory. So now let's switch over to Skyvector. So this is Skyvector. Allows you to make flight plans. The whole reason I'm doing this this tutorial was I saw some comments from new people coming to X-Plane going, well, I bought X-Plane, I flew some planes around, now what do I do? Well, a good start is to create a flight plan and go and try to do a flight from one airport to the other. Pick something cool and grab some ortho so it looks really good. And so today I'm going to do a flight from Marion County here in Florida, and I'm going to fly down to Kissimmee Gateway, and this is going to take a flight directly over Disney World, so we can get a look at what Disney World looks like in the ortho, and it should be pretty interesting. To start your here, I'll just start over. To start your first point, just right click and say plan. So I'm going from this airport, which is Marion County, to this airport. So you just right click, hit plan, and it fills in the departure and destination. But now that we have this set up, we need to look at the winds. So we need to know which direction to take off and which direction to land from. And so you can pull up windy.com. And windy.com here, and we're going to type in our departure, which is X35, which I think is actually KX35, Marion County Airport, which will take me over there. And if you click on it, it's going to tell me what the winds are doing. So we got 5 knots coming from the south, going north. So now we know where the wind direction is. 5 knots from the south. So we're going to go back here to the airport, right click on it, and then click on the airport to look at it. And then up in the top left corner is the airport diagram showing you where the runways are. And so if the wind's coming from the south, here, I'll open this up even bigger. Winds are coming from the south. I'm probably going to want to take off from 23, going south into the wind. It's going to be kind of a crosswind, but still into the wind, so I should get more lift on the takeoff. I'm going to want to bring this with me into the plane, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm just going to go up. I'm in Brave right here, which is my browser, but in Chrome or any of the other ones, I think you just right click and say print on any of these, which will bring this up. Now in Windows 10, save as PDF is always a option, and so you're just going to want to save it as a PDF file, and it's going to come up, and you're going to want to put it in the charts directory, which is inside Avitab. So it's X-Plane, Resources, Plugins, Avitab, Charts. So now I'm just going to name this X35 Airport. And you can name it whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. I just need to name it something. So there, put this thing in the charts directory, so I can have that when I'm in X-Plane through Avitab. So now we're going to come back out. And so I know I want to start at 23 and take off towards the south. And I can set that up when I get into X-Plane. I'm going to pick a point close to that runway and then taxi over. And now we're going to make our way down to this airport, which is the Kissimmee Gateway, which actually has an airport diagram. And we're going to want to bring this in actually to Avitab as well, which you can find it by clicking on the airport name and then clicking on the airport diagram. And print this and save. It's going to go right back in the same directory, which is Resources, Plugins, Avitab, Charts. I'm going to call this KISM Airport, so I have it for reference. And the wind's coming from the south, so we want to land on what's this runway here? 15. So we're gonna go back. I want to right click again, highlight over the airport, and we have an RNAV GPS 15. So we can pull this up, and this is going to give me the points to land in that direction. So we got to get these points, to actually input them into Skyvector, I'm just going to drag this out, and what I'm looking for is this name right here, WADSI, which is right here, and say plan. So it's going to actually add that point, which is the direct way to land on that runway. It's directly lined up with it. And then the other point is WERPO. I'm going to drag this out again. You may have to drag it around a little bit to find where is this point. Okay, it's right here actually. Wow, it's almost like right over Disney World. Actually, it's in Disney World. So we're going to fly out, and then this is going to take us directly at the runway that we're going to be landing at. The cool thing about this is it actually gives you the elevations you should be at as you're landing. Now, I'm not a pilot, so I think this is supposed to be used with like possibly the ILS system, I'm guessing. I don't know if it's actually for VFR. This is just what I've been using to kind of line myself up with the airport so I can get my bearings and find where I'm going to land. But like I said, I'm not a pilot, so This is probably not how you do, well, I know it's not how you do a real flight plan. There's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to show you a quick, simple way to get a nice flight plan and have some fun with X-Plane. So I'm going to actually grab this sheet here. So let's go back in here, highlight over it, RNAV 15, and we're going to open up that PDF. And we're going to print this one, and this is RNAV 15. And now I have all these points, so I know what elevations to be at, I know which direction I'm coming from, and how to get in there. So this is going to be our flight plan. Pretty simple. I just have to remember that I need to take off towards the south, and then we're going to be landing towards the south, since the wind, as you can see, and I will actually go KISM, go over to Kissimmee here, check the winds. It's coming from the southeast at 5 knots. And so now that's all set up. So now what we can do is we can go over and say send plan 2, and then select FPL, and we're going to download the Garmin FPL file, and we're going to put it where our flight plans are, which is in not resources, X-Plane output, FMS space plans, which if you don't have that folder, you're going to have to create it, but all the airplanes will look at this folder. So, and then we're going to say this is X352KISM. And so now we have this flight plan saved. Another thing I like to do, just to have this stuff in the plane with me, is I'll press this button here that shows show mini nav log, and this gives the points that I'm going to be flying. And I also will just take the Stimmin Sketch, which is part of Windows 10, which takes screenshots, and I just take a screenshot of this so I can have it in the plane with me. And then I'll also print this as a PDF, Microsoft PDF, throw it in my charts, and I'm going to call this nav map, which is just going to give me the map of where I'm headed. And then I'll also uncheck this and then go nav log, which will bring up just the points. And this is what I usually do if I'm going to type it in myself. I'll just pull this up and then type it in. And we're going to print this and save this in the FMS. Oh, not in the FMS plans. We're going to save this in the charts folder. Oops, charts. There we go. And I'm just going to call it navlog. We have that in there. So now we have all of the information we need for this flight, and we can pull it up in VR. All right, one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the geotiff of this map. So I can actually pull up this map in Avitab, and it'll mark my plane where I'm flying and where I'm traveling to in real time over the top of this map. And where you get those geotiffs is you go to the FAA site, and the link's in the description below, to get the VFR raster charts. And we're going to do sectionals. I'm going to go down and I'm going to find Miami, because I think that is the chart that I need. And right here it says geotiff.zip. So I'm going to download that from my download directory. So we're going to download the Miami geotiff, which is 33.6 megabytes. And the FAA site is actually super slow. So as I download this with gigabit internet, the FAA site is what's slowing me down. Once this finishes, I'll show you what's in the zip file and which file you actually need and where it needs to go in Avitab. Alright, now it's finished. Here's my Miami geotiff file that it gives me. I'm just going to extract here. And it comes with an HTML file, a TFW file, I don't even know what that is, but then it comes with the Miami section 106 TIFF. And you're going to want to take that and you're going to want to put it into X-Plane, resources, plugins, Avitab, and then I believe it's map tiles, geotiffs. So yeah, it's resources, plugins, Avitab, map tiles, geotiffs. And you can delete the readme file that's in there. And then just drag and drop it in there. And now we have the geotiff for the Miami sector. So. And with that, we have almost all the files we need to start our flight. Next up, we're going to go into our FMS directory. So it's output FMS plans, which is where we put the FPL to FMS VBS script. And here's the flight plan I saved from Skyvector, X35 to KISM. And so we're going to run the FPL to FMS. And it's going to come up with this dialog, but it's fine. You can just open it. And it's going to say select which plan to convert. So I select the one that I saved. And I say open. And then it takes a little bit. Or not. Oh, it brought up another window. Apparently, it'll bring up windows elsewhere. So it just says enter the name of your file. So I'm just going to call it the same thing, X35 to KISM. Press OK, and presto, there is my FMS file, and that can now be read in to X-Plane. All right, one last thing to go over. I said I was going to show you how to import this into the Garmin 650 and 750 as a flight plan. We still have our FMS file right here, and we're going to bring up little nav map. So I installed mine just in its own folder here, little nav map inside my X-Plane directory so I can find it. I'm just going to want to open this guy up, open up little nav map exe file. And when you first run this, it's going to ask what your, well, it actually found it on mine, but it's going to ask you where our X-Plane is located, and you just tell it where that is, and then it's going to search the entire thing and come up with every single point of reference, I guess, inside all of X-Plane on the planet. And then it's going to come up looking like this. And you're just going to want to open flight plan, and you want to pull up your FMS file you created and say open, and bam, there it is. Inserted it in here. There's some cool stuff you can do, because you can actually set elevation you want to be at when you're flying over these points. You can set that per point as well. But and there's a ton of other stuff you can do, because you can see the map here and it's showing me all kinds of information I don't quite understand, because I just started using this program, but it looks super cool. It tells you all about the airport and everything that you're going to. It's very cool. But what I wanted to use it for was, you go here to File once you load up your flight plan, and then you want to export plan in Garmin formats. And there's an export flight plan as GFP for Reality XP GTN. And you can select that. And it is I actually found my directory, which is where the trainer you need to have the Reality XP GTN work. And I already found it in my program data, Garmin trainers databases, FPLN. That's where this is going to live. So I'm just going to save it there, and then I'll show you how to bring it up in the plane in the Garmin. So now we have completed this whole process of getting all the information we need for Avitab and X-Plane, and now to get into the plane. So now we landed in X35, Marion County, and I can show you how to input your flight plan in this flight computer. I'll just turn it on here, turn on the avionics so you can see. And if you go to route menu and then co-route list, and then we have X35 to Kissimmee, and we just select that, and boom, it's all set up. You go into legs, you can see all the different points, and you have your magenta line here that'll take you all the way into Kissimmee Airport. So that's how you load in a flight with the flight computer. Works pretty easy. I'm going to show you in a couple planes how to do this. Let me get out of here. I'm going to walk over here to the Bonanza, and this plane setup's a little bit different than the other one. It's set up more like the Cessna, make our way up onto this wing. So yeah, in this plane, this is the flight computer. I'm going to reach over and give it some power here so we can get this thing going. So what do you get in here? You just press flight plan, press right on the small one, whoops, and it'll bring this up. Push on it, or press enter, or well, actually no, you have to push on it, and then just scroll down X35 KSAM and press enter, and bam, you have all of your points right there, and so you're ready to go. Alright, I got one more plane to show you here. Let me shut this thing down. Let's get out of here. And we're gonna walk past here and head over this direction. So around this corner over here I have the Baron, and that has the Garmin GPS in it. Alright, we're gonna get up on the wing here, open the door. Okay, there we go. Whoa. Alright, now we'll get inside here. Alright, and then for this plane, turn the power on here. So this is the Garmin 750. Once it boots up, continue. And you just go to flight plan, and you go menu, catalog, menu again, import, then X35 to KASM. Select that, activate. Yeah, sure, we'll replace their current route, and there it goes. Now it's all loaded in. Oops, press the map. There's the magenta line. So that's how you import it into the Garmin GTN 650, 750. You just have to remember to use the little nav map to export it in the format this thing can read. Alright, now that's all shut down. We'll get out of here. Alright, now we'll head over this way. Alright, I'm gonna walk back, and I have one last plane, which is the plane we're going to take off with, which is my Cessna 172, which is around the corner, and I'll show you how to use all those charts we saved in Avitab. Alright, we're in my Cessna 172, and we're going to get some power in this thing and then get the flight plan put in. So I gotta turn this stuff on. I'll get some lights going here. So, like the other planes, to input your flight plan, press the flight plan button, brings this up, and then you don't want to, no, not push, but turn, and then turn again, or actually I think push, yep, and then turn again, which is X35 to KASM, press enter, and boom, there's all our waypoints. We have our magenta line that you can kind of see pointing that way, and now we're going to get ready to take off. If you remember, we grabbed some charts for this airport. So if we look at X35, so here's the airport chart. We're supposed to take off on 23, which is this runway here, due to the wind, so we should be taking off into the wind off of that airport. Now the other thing we downloaded was, if you go into maps, we downloaded the GeoTIFF VFR chart. If you press on these three little lines here, it brings up this menu, select GeoTIFF. Now I downloaded Miami, well that's actually the incorrect one. Jacksonville is the one we want for where we are. So I press that, and there we are. Now we're being tracked directly on the VFR chart. Now to get this plane started, I'm going to do this, and then oops, there we go. On the honeycomb yoke, the key is actually on the opposite side. Alright, I'll close this door, and we'll taxi on over to the runway and be on our way. I'm going to do one set of flaps for takeoff, and then one last thing is we need the ATIS, which this airport does not have ATIS. what the one we're flying to does. And once we pull up to this old short line here, I'm gonna go and grab the ATIS. And since we grabbed that the airport chart for KISM, if you look at this thing right in the upper right hand corner, ATIS 128775, which I have on right now, I believe. It may be too far away for me to pick that one up. So I'd have to find an airport closer, which is probably... let's see, let's look at the map here. Actually, again, why having this map helps out. We can get this airport here, and the ATIS is 128.125, so we'll just switch this up. We'll use that one.
Ocala INTL Jim Taylor FLD weather. Wind light and variable, visibility 10. Sky clear, temperature 6, dew point -16. Altimeter 3019.
3019. So now we got ATIS, which we found off the map, which is always good to have with you, which is why I grab the geotiffs before I take off. And now we are ready for takeoff, and we shall be on our way. Looking for 55 here. Got 40. Here's 55. Flaps up. There we go. And we're off. So I'm going to climb up to about 2,000 feet, and then I'll show you how to activate the autopilot in this. Alright, coming up on 2,000, I'm going to start leveling her off here. So, for the autopilot, you're going to want to make sure CDI mode says GPS. You don't have to change that in every plane. Some automatically come up with GPS. And then you're going to press nav. Plane should take over. And then if you press altitude, it's now going to stay at this altitude as well. And keep us level. And it's going to meet up with the magenta line that we typed in for our points here. Check out RPMs, looks good. Everything looks good. So we are on our way to do a flyover of Disneyland, or Disney World, I should say, which is down here a ways. Right here. Zoom out a bit. We are up here on our way down. So yeah, as you can see, we have our charts here, like our nav map, which shows us where exactly we're flying, and our RNAV, which is going to come in handy when we get closer to the airport of where we're supposed to be at each of these points. Like I mentioned before, ortho really helps out when you're flying around. You get to look at the real satellite photos, basically, of the area. This is what it should look like flying out of here. Oh, I just noticed one thing. I did not set this thing up correctly. That says GPS. The nav, you actually have to set to GPS as well. So it says GPS right there. I just noticed I was flying past my line, and I'm like, where is this thing going? So now I'll actually be on course. Just one of those things. You always got to be checking everything to make sure everything's set up right. Oh, that's interesting. So you look here, we're coming up on Disney World here, which is this TFR here, and it looks like Disney World has its own runway, KDWS. I'm gonna have to check that out someday. I didn't know they had a runway down there. I see it it should be actually right over there somewhere. Maybe farther out. So yeah, over that way there's a runway for Disney World, which is pretty cool. Let's see if we can pick up the ATIS.
Kissimmee Gateway Information Victor. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind light and variable, visibility 10. Sky clear, temperature 6, dew point -16. Altimeter 3019.
3019.
Arriving runway 33, departing runway 33.
We're at
Advise on initial contact you have Victor.
So now this thing's gonna turn us. We're gonna go down just a little bit. Oops.
Kissimmee Gateway Information Victor. 1900 Zulu weather. Wind
Go
light
down
and variable,
to 2000
visibility 10.
exactly, which is
Sky
what we
clear,
should be at
temperature
for
6, dew point
charts. We're gonna get
-16.
prepared to land here.
Altimeter
Our nav.
3019. Arriving runway 33.
Turn that off. And down to 2000, and I'm going to start leading off our speed as we get ready to land here. The next one is supposed to be at 1200 feet, so we can start heading down here. There, we bled off our speed pretty quickly here. Almost at 1200. I think I see the runway straight ahead through the haze. Alright, turn the autopilot off. We'll start heading down a little bit. Do one set of laps. Jesus. Going into the wind, I don't think I need any more flaps. She was slow enough. Up a little bit. Kind of let her settle on down. Nice. Oops, off a little bit, but corrected. It's probably one of my better landings since I got the yoke. I've only done this a few times, but brakes are a little touchy in this thing. Well, we made it here. And with our charts and everything, and autopilot. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below, and until next time, I'll see you in the skies.